नमस्सर्वेभ्यः। गुरुरेव गतिर्गुरुमेव भजे, गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे। न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः, मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो। ब्रवीमि संस्कृतं वाचा, ध्यायामि संस्कृतं हृदा, कुर्वे सेवाञ्च कायेन वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्। यो नरः संस्कृतव्योम्निह्यालयं रमते मुदा, संस्कृतिं चैव संस्कारं विन्दते नात्र संशयः। It is indeed a great pleasure and a privilege to welcome all of you to this new course, Shivaleelarnavam by Srimati Vishalakshi Shankaran. This has actually been our dream since a very long time. Even though this is the first live course of Vishalakshi Bhagini through Vyoma, she has been one of the earliest teachers who has joined hands with Vyoma in our efforts to spread Samskrita, Samskriti and Samskara. She is actually the teacher who has the maximum number of courses on our portal. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. This Shivaleelarnavam is the 48th course of Vishalakshi Bhagini through Vyoma. And they're all not like small courses. They cover such a wide range of topics. So she has delivered courses on kavyas, on stotras, on texts of Sahitya Shastra. So she is equally comfortable with simple subhashitas through a complex Mahakavya like Naishadhiya Charita, Rasagangadhara, which is considered to be one of the toughest texts of Sahitya Shastra, Bhagavata Mahapuranam with the commentary of Sridhara Swami. It's not just the number, it is the sheer, the depth of the courses, the range and the variety, which is truly mind-blowing. And through all these courses, there are two things which come into the fore whenever we listen to any course of Vishalakshi Bhagini. So one is her dedication to teaching. It's with so much of discipline through so many years. So there is not a single day when she doesn't have a class, when she doesn't teach. And the passion and enthusiasm she brings into her teaching of Samskrita literature. So there is a very famous Subhashita which says, Kan pritchamas suras svarge nivasamo vayam bhuvi, Kim va kavyarasa svaduhu, kim va svadiyasi sudha. The gods live in the heaven and we are on earth, so we cannot ask them directly. But is it really possible that Amrita or nectar is sweeter than the nectar of poetry? Right? So Kavya Rasa is said to be so sweet, and to experience that really we must attend the classes of Vishalakshi. So I would like to share my personal experience because I've known her since such a long time and I've been listening to her classes. So more than 8 or even 10 years ago, when Vyoma was just starting out and we were uploading her courses on our portal. She teaches extensively both through Tamil and English. Tamil is her mother tongue and it's actually a foreign language for me, as in not my mother tongue. And at that point, I had just married into a Tamil family and I knew very little of Tamil. But when I was doing this background work for her courses, I had to write course descriptions or give the titles for her lessons. I would start listening to her classes and just could not stop. There's absolutely no exaggeration. She explains them so beautifully with so much of sahridaya bhava. So they say it is one of the most important aspects in appreciating poetry, that you should understand what the poet is trying to express and convey it to the learners. She does it so beautifully, you can just keep on listening to her. So I had this double bonus, okay, and learning the beautiful expressions of both languages through her classes. So it has been a very, very nice experience. So nobody who who attends her classes can help becoming a fan of Samskrita literature, which is perhaps the greatest tribute that one can give a teacher. And she is not just a teacher, she is a poet herself. She creates shlokas, writes poetry, and you can see that the extent of her experience of Samskrita Kavya. So it is seen in her poetry. She was also extremely encouraging of her students. She does all kinds of sessions with them to encourage them to both appreciate poetry more and to compose poetry. So there is so much to tell about her, but well, I should be very aware that my strength is Shushka Vyakarana, not Rasavat Kavya, unlike her. So I just want to extend a very warm welcome to Vishalakshi Bhagini on behalf of Vyoma and thank her for agreeing to conduct this course through Vyoma. The Kavya that she has chosen, the Shivaleelarnavam, is again a very apt one for a teacher of her caliber, her experience. Right? So it is not a Kavya which is normally part of any syllabus. So there are no Vyakhyanas to fall back. So so there are very few scholars who take up such Kavyas. Nilakantha Dikshita is a extraordinary poet, one of the greatest in the last few centuries. So hailing from the lineage of Paya Dikshitar, he has created so many beautiful poems. So we have Nilakantha Vijay Champu, the Gangavataranam, Anyapadesha Shatakam, and so on. So Shivaleelarnavam is again a very beautiful kavya. So we have a great kavya by a great poet on a great theme, right? And by a great teacher. So we honestly cannot ask for anything more than this. So I am looking forward to these classes as much as any of you here. So I welcome all of you who are here to be a part of this course. And I will give it to Vishalakshi Bhagini with just a very small, some formal guidelines for us to join the classes. So I hope that all of you are aware. To join these live classes, you just have to open our website, so sanskritfromhome.org, and log into your account with your credentials. So once you log in, you will be taken to the student's dashboard. There, under the section called Today's Classes, you will find the classes. So whenever the class is scheduled, as soon as she starts the class, you will have this Join Now button. So by clicking on it, you can join the Zoom. I hope all of you have already done that so that you're here. But this is all just in case some people sometimes have some issues in joining. There are reminder emails which are sent 24 hours and 1 hour. And there is also an email which comes just when the session is started. You can use that link also to join the class. So any of the devices, whether it's a computer or an Android phone or an iOS smartphone, will work. So it's always recommended to use headphones with mic because the audio quality is so much better. You can enjoy the classes more. Everybody is on mute by default to ensure that there is no disturbance during the class, but you can always ask your questions. You can raise your hand. So at the end, if There is if you have questions, you can raise your hand or type in your questions and send it through the Q&A button. So there is only one known issue that we have in iOS, especially if you have the Safari browser. There are some problems in joining the live classes because the system itself blocks all pop-ups by default. So there is a very easy way. So you just have to go to the settings, and under Safari, under the settings, you have the Safari. So there is a block pop-ups option. So that you have to turn off the block pop-ups. So if it is green, it means the pop-ups are blocked and you will not be able to join. So please make sure they are turned off and then refresh the web page so that you will be able to join. So similarly, if you are on Safari on a Mac system, so under the website, go to the website sanskritfromhome.org, and there under the preferences, you can avoid this block, right? So click allow to allow the pop-ups so that you will be able to join the class. For any questions or doubts, you can always send an email to us at sanskritfromhome@vyomalabs.in. I think with this, I request Vishalakshi Bhagini to please take over and start the class.
Okay, thank you, Soumya. I'll just share my screen. So it's okay. Thank you so much, Soumya. I hope I'm audible. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. For that, a little exaggerated introduction about myself, but I just teach, as you know, but I don't want to be called as the most with the most number of courses and all that. It seems a little too much. Anyway, Sarvam, it's all because of Guru Kripa. I can't thank my teachers enough for this, what they have given me, without withholding anything. That is that's the way a teacher has to be, and that's what they have taught me. So I just continue in their footpath. So let me start directly with the course. This Shivaleelarnavam, as Soumya had also pointed out, it is an amazing, wonderful text. It's a beautiful kavyam. The style of Neelakanta Dikshita is also extremely easy to follow in many ways. He doesn't try to make it difficult for the readers, so it's quite nice to follow his work. I'll go directly into the text now. Namas Sundara Nathaya Tasmai Halasya Vasine Chatushatti Vidha Leela Yenakari Bhuvasthale Shrimat Sundara Nathasya Devim Shabharalochanam Kalaye Hridaye Nityam Kadamba Vanavasini Putam Swataf Putataram Tato Yada Gangam Payaha Shankara Mauli Sangat Tatpatu Mataf Pranaya Paradhapada Hatif Putatamam Tato Naha. The first two shlokas that I have taken for Dhyana Shlokam are found in the Halasya Mahatmyam, which is the source text, for this kavyam Shivaleelarnavam that we are trying to do. So I will explain these two shlokas, and then we can go into the introduction of the text, because we will be saying these three shlokas as a dhyana shlokam for every session. Namasundara Nathaya. The Shivaleelarnavam is mainly about Sundareshwara and Meenakshi in Madurai. All the incidents that are being described in this kavyam is in and around Madurai. So the main presiding deity there in Madurai is Sundaranatha or Sundareshwara. In Tamil we call him Chokkanadar. Shokka Vekkira. That is, he just makes you completely attractive, and you are totally immersed in his beauty. So Sundaranatha, he is a very handsome person here, Shiva. Halasya Vasine, Halasya Kshetram is the name for Madurai. This Halasyam, why Madurai got the name of Halasya itself is one of the Leelas of the 64 Leelas that Shiva conducted in and around Madurai. This Halasyam, we will look at it again later. I will explain why it is Halasyam. So, Yena Parameshwarena Bhuvasthale Bhumau Chatushashti Vidha Leelaha Akari. The Shiva conducted, so the Akari conducted or something. See, sometimes when I use certain words in English, I feel it is inadequate. So please excuse me for those usages. So Chatushashti Vidaha Leelaha. He did 64 different types of Leelas. We call it divine sports. So these Leelas are how he played with his bhakta. Sometimes he did anugraham in that manner. Sometimes he would just take on their suffering and, showed his grace through that, showed his kripa by taking on the suffering. So these are the different types of Leelas that he performed in that Puram. So Halasya Vasine Tasmai Sundaranathaya Namaha. And the Devi there is Meenakshi. Srimad Sundaranathasya Devim. Meenakshi, one whose eyes are as beautiful as like that of a fish. That is not only the part, that is a very peripheral meaning that you can give for Meenakshi. Another meaning to it, another layer of meaning to it is in Tantra Shastram, where there are different types of diksha, or a way of imparting knowledge that a guru does to the shishya. There are different, maybe even 108 types of dikshas that they say. In that, the principal three are Kukkuta Diksha, Matsya Diksha, and Kurma Diksha. In that, the Nayana, Meena Diksha is through Nayanam, through the eyes. So a guru just has to look at the shishya and he can impart knowledge through that. That is called the Nayana Diksha. Diksha is an initiation into that branch of knowledge. And here, Meenakshi is a representation of that Nayana Diksha. So she is Shaphara Lochana, and hence she is called, Shaphara is Meena. So Meena Lochana sa. Tam Devim Kadamba Vanavasinim. Kadamba Vane Tatra Vasati sa. So Kadamba Vanavasinim Tam Devim Nityam. Now, it's not enough if I just remember her one day. Every day that thought should be there in the mind. That's how you train the mind to go into that upasana. So Nityam Hridaye Kalaye. I think of her in my mind. So these two shlokas are found in Halasya Mahatmyam. And this Halasya Mahatmyam forms a part of Skanda Puranam, from where this is the source for Shivaleelarnavam. The next is the first shloka of Shivaleelarnavam. We will look at the explanation later. So now I would like to give a little bit of introduction about the poet and his time and desha. So Nilakanta Dikshita belongs to the 16th century and the early half of the 17th century, like say 1580 to 1644. There are many evidences in his work. When he finishes Nilakanta Vijaya Champu, he gives a time frame as to when he finished this text. And so we know when, what was the time period of his life. We can also find out from the time period of his grandfather, who is Appaya Dikshita. Appaya Dikshita and Nilakanta Dikshita are like, two, if you can have two Suryans, in Subramanya Bhujangam, he would say, if there can be 6 Purna Chandra, which just rises at the same time, Kalankais Chahinaha, without any Kalankam, then I can compare that to Shanmukha. In that same way, this Appaya Dikshita and Nilakanta Dikshita are like two suns rising at the same time. Maybe one after the other. That's how they were in the southern Sanskrit literature field. So Apaya Dikshita's brother's grandson is Nilakanta Dikshita. So it is very clear that he is after Apaya Dikshita. And Apaya Dikshita's time is between 1520 to 1593. So that is his time frame. And so from calculations, you will know that he was about 12 or 13. Nilakanta Dikshita was 12 or 13 when Apaya Dikshita passed away. A very interesting episode is, at the end of Apaya Dikshita's life, I said this during the promo also, that, he wanted only Raghuvamsha and Devi Bhagavatam, and he was also given Apaya Dikshita's Shivalingam. That Shivalingam actually has been given to Sringeri Matham by the family because it had to be, pujas had to be done very strictly, and so that they couldn't maintain it in the family. Until about 3 generations back, they were maintaining it, and now they have given it to the Sringeri Mutt. Coming back to Apaya Dikshita and Nilakanta Dikshita's relationship, see, they both, when Apaya Dikshita wanted to give up, knew that his end was near, he wanted to go to Chidambaram and do a darshanam of Nataraja, and then only, give up his life. In the sense, his life should end in Chidambaram. He had decided in that manner, and Apaya Dikshita went to Chidambaram. As his end was nearing, the last few moments of it are very poignant, but at the same time, it shows that the brilliance of both poets, both Apaya Dikshita and Nilakanta Dikshita. Apaya Dikshita, at the end, he says, Abhati Hataka Sabha Nataraja Padma, Natapada Padma, Jyotirmayo Manasime, Tarunarunoyam. He sees the foot, the Charana Yugalam of Nataraja in his mind. And as he recites this first 2 lines of that shloka, he says, Abhati Hataka Sabha Nata Pada Padma Hataka Sabha. Tatra Chidambara Kshetre, Chidambara Kshetrantu Kanaka Sabha iti prathitamasti. So that Hataka Sabha Nata Pada Padma, the foot of the Charanam of Nataraja is in my mind, Abhati. And it is like a Jyotirmayam. It is like a ball of light in my mind. Jyotirmayam Mayo Manasime Tarunarunoyam. And it is like an Arunodaya. It's not like the bright sun which is, blinding the eyes and all that. It is like that young sun which just rises like the Arunodayam, Taruna Arunaha Ayam. And at that point, he breathed his last. So Nilakanta Dikshita, who happened to be beside him, finished that shloka, and he says, Nunam Jara Marana Ghora Pishacha Kirna Samsara Moha Rajani Viratim Prayata. Definitely, Samsara Moha Rajani, the night has passed away. If Arunodayam has happened in the mind of Apaya Dikshita, definitely the night has gone. And here, he beautifully superimposes the night as the Samsara Moha, the Dukkha Maya Samsaraha, in which he was there, in which Apaya Dikshita was residing. And Nunam, definitely, that Rajani, that night has gone away. Viratim Prayata, Tasmat Karanadeva Manasi Nataraja Padma Rupa, Jyotirmayaha Abhati iti. So the play of words itself shows the greatness of both poets. And that's why I started off by saying they both are like 2 suns in this Surya, in this world of Sanskrita literature. In fact, after Apaya Dikshita, Nilakanta, there is a small difference between the 2 of them also. While Apaya Dikshita is a very strict person, and the way he says, there is not much of, I can't say not much of humor, but it's more of anubhuti, more of, it's a self-expression that he has, Apaya Dikshita. Nilakanta Dikshita loves to include humor. It's constantly laced with humor. His Kalividambanam is something that you can just go read every day. It's like a daily humor, humor a day. We used to have in Reader's Digest, right? A joke a day, which will keep you happy. So it's like that. Kalividambanam is such a manual to keep by side. So Nilakanta Dikshita always has a turn of words, a turn of phrase. And very beautifully, he also says in his own Shivaleelarnavam, which we will read, he doesn't use words which are, which you have to go to the dictionary and open the dictionary and constantly look for what is he meaning by this word. Yaneva shabdan vyoma-samskrta-pathasala. Ye shabdaha asmabhihi upayujyante. He uses only those words, but then what he does is he just places them in a slightly different manner, here and there, in a very more beautiful manner, and then suddenly mohayati. He completely attracts the entire world because he becomes a kavi at that point. The same words that we know, probably more other people might know more words than Nilakanta Dikshita, but then he uses the words that are simple, words that we know, but then arranges it in such a manner that it comes out to be a beautiful kavya. So that is Nilakanta Dikshita's greatness there. In Tamil Nadu itself, there are 3 areas where you can call his as his place. Janma thu Adayapalam. Adayapalam iti Kanchipuram district. There is a small town in Kanchipuram district. It's a village, and that is where he was born. After that, he moved to Madurai. So when after the passing of Apaya Dikshita, he went down south from Kanchipuram towards Madurai in search of some livelihood as such, because his father had passed away very young, when he was very young, and so he moved to Madurai, where Tirumala Nayaka was the king. He became the mantri there. After a small incident where there was they were constructing a mandapam in Madurai temple, and in that mandapam they wanted to do the figurine, the sculpture of the wife of Tirumala Nayaka. And there is a story where as the sculptor was doing that statue, he made it, not he made it, automatically a portion at the thigh got chipped off. When he was doing her thigh, it got chipped off. So, and then he started doing the statue again. When he started to do it the 3rd time in the same place, there was again another chip on the thigh. So Nilakanta Dikshita was walking by and he said, let it be there. It is a mark that is there on the queen's thigh, and this gave rise to a misunderstanding between the king and the mantri. Of course, they cleared the whole incident. They've all those misunderstandings were over, and but then Nilakanta Dikshita was a little upset about the whole thing, or he just felt, I don't need to serve the king for longer, and I need to go and retire. So he took retirement and went to Palamadai. The Palamadai itself, the village of Palamadai in Tirunelveli district, it was given as manyam. We say, the king gives the entire village to whomever, to a scholar, to a Brahmin. So he got that village, and it is named as Nilakanta Samudram. Palamadai is another name, and it is also called Nilakanta Samudram. That is where he spent his closing years. Now, the ancestry of, if you look at the kulam of Nilakanta Dikshita, Rangaraja Dikshita is Apaya Dikshita's father, and okay, my animation is a little off. Okay, that's fine. Rangaraja Dikshita also is a very great scholar. Apaya Dikshita in his work, he always pays he salutes, or he does namaskaram to his guru. As he does namaskaram to his guru, he says his father is the one who has taught him everything. In fact, in Nyaya Rakshamani and I think Siddhanta, one more work, I'm not sure what that work is, he says his father is an expert in Nyaya Vaisheshika, Bauddha, Sankhya, Yoga, and then Mimamsa, Advaita. He is also, after getting an expertise in all of these, he branched off into Shuddhadvaitam also. He is apparently written, Rangaraja Dikshita has apparently written 2 works, Advaita Vidya and Vivarana Darpanam, which are not completely available today. Portions of it are available as a manuscript. Every person, and then Achan Dikshita was also supposed to be a great scholar. That Achan Dikshita had 5 sons. No, he had 2 sons. One is Narayana Dikshita, and the other one was again Appaya Dikshita. Narayana Dikshita had 5 sons. They were Achan, Ayya, Chinnappa, and then Chandrakalaavatamsa. I like that name. One daughter whose name was Chandrakalaavatamsa. And then Atiratra Yajvi, who was another son. So 4 sons and 1 daughter. The second one, Ayya Dikshita, is our Nilakanta Dikshita. So that is where we are coming from, the ancestry. So you should, to understand this, why that entire kulam is filled with scholars. Even today, you will find that any descendant, if they put their mind to it, they can immediately pick up Shastras like anything. I have personally seen with one of my students who is a descendant of that family, the sort of anugraham that Appaya Dikshitar has done to that family. Of course, because of Appaya Dikshita, Nilakanta Dikshita's family also has that anugraham. They can pick up, their mind is, because in Atmarpana Stuti, Appaya Dikshita, he says, I bequeath my entire family to you, Shiva. My family has been given to you in slavery. So many times, Nilakanta Dikshita calls himself as Garbhadasa. That I am a servant of the Lord has been decided when I was in the womb. So Garbhadasa ityeva saha atmanam stauti. It is only Appaya Dikshita who just wrote it like an agreement with the God, and he has bequeathed entire family. So there have been a lot of great scholars, either great minded people or who have performed a lot of yaga yajnas. You have Manargudi Rajajastrigal, you have Shivananda Yogi. Both, there were 2 Shivananda Yogis in the family. One is the person who has started Divine Life Society. The other person is who has written Vyakyanam for Appaya Dikshita's works also. So it's like that kulam is something, you can't say how many great scholars have come in that family. So Nilakanta Dikshita and Appaya Dikshita are just the beginning of it, or they are the stalwarts in that family. So he, coming to Nilakanta Dikshita, he is both a Vaiyakarana, a Vedanti, Kavyakarta. He has written many works. And if you look at the repository of works that he has done, it is just mind-boggling. We will go to that. Of course, Appaya Dikshita also has done some 108 works. Nilakanta Dikshita is no way less than that. When we had Shankara Bhagavatpada doing so many works within that span of 32 years, you can say these people have also come in that light. In fact, Appaya Dikshita has been called as another avatara of Shankara, Parameshwara. Nilakanta Dikshita's gurus are 3. One is, of course, we know Appaya Dikshita, because his father passed away at a very tender age. Nilakanta Dikshita was considered as one of the grandsons of Appaya Dikshita, and Appaya Dikshita took personal interest in teaching all of his grandsons. He had some 11, 12 grandsons, and Nilakanta Dikshita was the 13th grandson. That's how it is written in his biography. Appaya Dikshita has, 2 people have written biographies on Appaya Dikshita. There is a Dikshitendra Vijayam. Manargudi Rajajastrigal has written Dikshita Vamsha Bharanam. I'm not sure how many books are still available. Dikshitendra Vijayam is still available. There are 2 versions of Dikshitendra Vijayam that are available. One is by Shivananda Yogi and the other is by Krishnamacharya. So Appaya Dikshita was his first guru. And from Appaya Dikshita's hands, Nilakanta Dikshita received the Devi Bhagavatam and Raghuvamsha. Which that Devi Bhagavatam there shows his, see, those 2 books are 2 representations of two branches in Sanskritam. So one is the divine quality that is present in Sanskritam. The other is that literature beauty. Raghuvamsha, even though it is a huge Mahakavyam, it's still there are the beauty that it gives. At the same time, Shastra. It is a way. It is like a telescope into Shastra. We may not have the idea of the entire Shastram, but as you read Kavyam, you will slowly start getting exposed to Kavyam, because this Shastras, this Kavyam is like that. In Prataparudriyam, he says, Yadvedat Prabhu Samhitat. So there are three categories of literature when you look at the evolution, and at the same time to understand information about Shastras also. You have the Vedas, then you have the Puranas, you have the Kavyam. In the Vedas, Prabhu Samhitam, it is like a Lord who gives a command. When he gives a command, etat kartavyam, etat na kartavyam. That's all. Akarane pratyavayaha. If you do not do this, you are going to face a problem. If you do this, fine. You will get this positive result. So it is like a Raja who gives an order. Vedas are always like that. But then half the time we don't like authoritarian outlook in this world, right? That's why we need someone who has to advise us like a friend. So Puranas came about. Puranas are like friends. It gives you a story and then tells you Ramadivate Vartitavyam Natu Ravanadivate. You will have to follow just because if you look at the life of Rama, you see that he got a good name. Even today we talk of Rama as the ideal Adarsha Purushaha, Sita as the Adarsha Stri. Look at their lives and then you can follow. Still, some people may not be able to understand that, because some people are or many people are steeped into the Vishaya Sukham in this world. So, and the Vishaya Sukham there is Kavis, poets try to see if we can bring those lovely values that are there through these Vishaya Sukham, trying to give them in a manner that is palatable, like a sugar-coated pill. Give them give these values in such a manner that they take to it very beautifully. So that is Kanta Sammitataya Upadesha Yuje. So Kavyam is not only for for giving a kirti to a poet, it is also to give an upadesha, give advice to the people, common people who read it. So in Kavya Prakasham, this shloka is Kavyam Yashase Arthakrite. You get money out of it, because people who wrote Kavyam went and recited it in front of the king, and they received money for it. Arthakrite. We also receive money because we use that Kavyam to teach today and get money. So it is good for us also today. So Kavyam Yashase. And my fame is also because of teaching so many Kavyams. So Yashase Arthakrite. Vyavahara Vide. It teaches us how to behave in this world. You look at the different behavior portrayed in the dramas, it is each and everything can be taken as a lesson on how to conduct ourselves in this world. Very beautiful examples are there. As we read the Kavyam, I will go into that. Yashase Arthakrite Vyavahara Vide Shivetara Kshataye. Shiva Itara Kshataye. It is also useful to remove any amangalam in our life. So that's why I said that Devi Bhagavatam and Raghuvamsham, which Nilakanta Dikshita received, are the two aspects. One is the enjoyment of Kavyam, Raghuvamsha. The other is that Shiva Itara Kshataye. It is useful to remove the amangala vishayam that is there in our life. So the famous example that we say is Surya Shatakam, where Mayura Kavi wrote 101 shlokas on Surya, and he was cured of his leprosy, some say, or some say he was cured of his eye disease, something or the other. But then that is the example we give for Shivetara Kshataye. So these two aspects came to Nilakanta Dikshita through the two books he received from his guru, Ape Dikshita. The next guru is, so, and when he was 13, Apaya Dikshita passed away. So he came into the tutelage of Venkateshwara Makhi. And in Gangavataranam, which is another Mahakavyam like Shivaleelarnavam, he gives this shloka, Vartika Bharana Grantha Nirmana Vyakta Naipunaha Shri Venkateshwara Makhi Shishye Mai Anukampate. Shishye Mai, towards me, his disciple, Sri Venkateshwara Makhi, has shown his anukampa, his kripa. And this Venkateshwara Makhi is the author of a text called Vartika Bharana Grantham. More than that, if you are familiar with Carnatic music, you will know that he is every person, whether it is Hindustani theory or Carnatic music theory, you have to study about Venkatamakhi. Without Venkatamakhi, you will never, everybody will know about Venkatamakhi because he is the person who codified those 72 Melakarta ragas. There was no codification of the ragas before, and he was the first person to come up with the system of Katapayadi. Using that system, he named ragas, and he even invented certain ragas and came up with that Melakarta Chakram system. And that Venkatamakhi, who has also written Vartika Bharana Grantha, is our Nilakanta Dikshita's second guru. In between, I've given this as the third guru, but actually in between Apaya Dikshita and Venkatamakhi is the third guru, who is his Tantra guru, Girvana Yogindra. Generally, if you have the word Yogindra, you will know that it is a Tantra Shastra guru. They have these words like Yogi, Chidambara Natha Yogi, Yogindra. These words always, these names get attached to gurus who teach Tantra Shastram or who are mantra gurus. So in Shivaleelarnavam, the fifth shloka, we will be seeing this, where he will talk about his guru, Girvana Yogindra. When I told you that he moved from Chidambaram after Apaya Dikshita's passing away, when he moved south towards Madurai, there he was, he went to that Swarna Padmini. Swarna Padmini is Putramare Kolam. Even now it is present there. And he was reciting Devi, before he started reciting Devi Bhagavatam, he came out, he did a snanam in that Swarna Padmini Tatakaha. And when he came out, he met this yogi who asked him to sit down, and he gave him Mantrobadesha. And that yogi is Girvana Yogindra. And it was after that he took up Devi Bhagavatam, and he started doing discourses. When Tirumala Nayaka heard this discourse, he decided that this person should be the mantri for his kingdom. So Nilakanta Dikshita had three gurus. And next, just a small this thing about his works. I'm not going to go in detail about all of his works. Gangavataranam and Shivaleelarnavam are two Mahakavyams. He has written a Natakam Nalacharitam. Nilakanta Vijaya Champu. In modern times, Vishwagunadhar Champu and Nilakanta Vijaya Champu are the two brilliant Champu works that can be, because Champu again, Gadya Padyamayi Champu, right? It's both Rasa Mishritam. Champu is always has an attraction. More than Mahakavyam or Gadyam, these two are separate. If you take those two rasas and mix it together, that is Champu. Champu is got a very beautiful style. And Nilakanta Vijaya Champu, his Ishta Devata seems to be, Meenakshi. And of course, Ishta Devata is also Ardhanarishwara. So his themes are always around that. He's also written Govinda Mukunda Vilasaha, another kavyam. His Vedanta kavyas are, I don't know if I can say Ananda Sagarastava is a Vedanta kavyam. It is more like a Saguna Upasana. It's completely on Meenakshi. There is a Shanti Vilasam and Vairagya Shatakam. He has written a Vairagya Shatakam. Apaya Dikshitar has written a Vairagya Shatakam. Bhartrihari has also written a Vairagya Shatakam. Generally, Bhartrihari's Vairagya Shatakam is more popular than these two. Small kavyas that he has written are Kalividambanam and Sabharanjana Shatakam. Is completely satire, and it's like in Tamil we say Kindle. Nalla Kindle. It has to be enjoyed in that manner. Bhakti kavyas are Shivotkarsha Manjari, there is an Anyapadesha Shatakam, which is not a Bhakti Kavyam, but then it's got social references. These other, the last box that I have given is either the works are printed or not printed, or they are still in manuscript form, but not much is available about these things. Much information is also not available about these things. He is, when I began, I said he is a Vyakarana. He has written a Vyakhyanam for Kayyeta. So Kayyeta Vyakhyanam, Guru Rajastavam, these are all Guru Tattva Malika. All of these are not much known, not much is known about these works today. So for the Grantha Parichayam, I think we will do it from the next class. Introduction will go on for 2 more classes. I think I will stop with this for now. Just let me know if there are any questions. Can I mute myself now? Okay. Yes. How do I do this if someone has raised their hand? I'll stop the share or...
You can have the share. You can just ask to unmute under participants.
They can unmute themselves? Okay.
No, I think.
Oh, I have to do it. Okay. No, it says talking permitted. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, now I think one of Rema Kishore.
Yeah, Rama Kishore, ma'am.
Rama, yeah, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Such a lovely class, totally engrossing. I look forward to more of these. Ma'am, I have one doubt when you kept saying Appaya Dikshitar. We had learned a small stotram as we were kids, Margabandhu Stotram.
Yes.
Is it composed by the same Appaya Dikshitar Kavi?
Same.
Oh, very nice. Lovely. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions? Yes. Rajalakshmi Mohdya.
Yes, this Shivaleelarnavam, regarding Leela of Shiva, that 64 Leela.
Yes.
Like that.
Ama. Yes. Thiruvilayadal. We say in Tamil, right? There are 64 Thiruvilayadals. And yes, it is about that. I will talk about the Grantha during the next class. I'll give information about what is there in the text and all that. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Then otherwise we'll stop now. I'll have to. Yes.
There is a typed question.
There is a
typed Q&A.
Why did Jagannatha Pandita have differences of opinion with Neelakanta Dikshita? Okay, Jagannatha Pandita did not have any problems with Neelakanta Dikshita. He had a problem with Appaya Dikshita. Appaya Dikshita wrote Kuvalyananda. It was not a personal problem. It was more like, a problem between two, Panditas. His opinion of Dhvani was different. Appaya Dikshita's opinion of Dhvani is different, and the Jagannatha Pandita's opinion was very different. So that's it goes too much into the technical details of Sahitya Shastra. And Appaya Dikshita wrote a work called Chitramimamsa, where he has analyzed how Dhvani, a Dhvani shloka has to be. When Jagannatha Pandita in his Rasagangadhara says that is not how you analyze a Dhvani. That's all. There is no direct fight there. That's all. Yeah. I hope that answers. Anything else? Where do we procure the script of this in Devanagari? I think that will be shared by someone.
Yeah, so maybe I should just very quickly, because there are multiple people who are asking this question. So just
okay, then I'll stop share and
allow. Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay.
So sorry. So if you go to the student dashboard, just log into your student account, and there is this textual study of Shivaleelarnavam. So if you click on that, all the materials of the course will be uploaded. As you can see, there is one reference book already. So there is a PDF that Bhagini has provided from archive. So you can download the work from there. The recordings of the sessions and the slides will also be uploaded here, right? So all materials you will find in the same place. So after each class, the recording, video recording, and the slides and any other materials which are required will all be available here. Right? So please allow us 2 to 3 days, because the uploading and processing is done by volunteers. But definitely before the next class, within 3 days, the recording of the class will be available. Right? So please make sure you refer to the course page for all the materials.
Yeah, I was unable to mute them also. Okay. The English transcript of Shivaleelarnavam will also be provided. I will send the PDF and it will be uploaded in the in the curriculum section. Is that okay? Then we can end the session now. Is that okay?
Yes, should be fine.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was
No.
brilliant, as always.
No. Yes, okay. Thank you. Right. Namaste.